speaker for the day is Shri Ramachandra Huddar, Director, Karnataka Judicial Academy. Sir graduated in Bachelor's of Commerce in the year 1985 from Gokte College of Commerce, Belgaum. He passed LLB from RL College, Belgaum in the year 1988. After which, he joined the office of Shri A.G. Kulkarni at Belgaum. He started independent practice at Gokak in the year 1992. Later, in the year 1995, Sir joined the judicial service. Sir has worked at Udupi, Bangalore, Sirsi, Chitradurga, Bangalore, Hassan. Sir has also worked as a registrar in the High Court Principal Bench and as Additional Registrar General at the Shared Bench. He has also worked as a Principal District and Session Judge Dharwad, Mysore. Sir is presently working as a Director, Karnataka Judicial Academy. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to you all. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Sir Subramania for having invited me to speak on the subject, preparation required to become a judge. Thank you, sir. I also thank Honorable Justice Suraj Govindaraj, who has enlightened all the participants in this program with regard to the subject, making of a judge and life of a judge. So also I thank all the organizers for having invited me. The subject which has been assigned to me to speak is on preparation required to become a judge. As rightly spoken to by my Lord Honorable Justice Suraj Govindaraj, you have got an option to appear for the civil judge examination immediately after passing out the law degree or law examination. I'm also of the firm opinion that no doubt you can appear for the examination immediately after passing the law degree. But however, because of lack of experience, lack of knowledge, one may not be able to discharge the duties in a proper manner. So, as rightly suggested by my Lord Suraj Govindaraj, if you practice under the good seniors, maybe civil lawyer, maybe criminal lawyer, according to your choice, for at least about 2 to 3 years, you will get a worldly knowledge about the subject and what is going on in the society and how the cases are being decided by the courts, etc. So it is said that to become a good judge, certain qualities are very much required. It is also said that always the good bar association produces good judges. So before becoming a judge, certain skills have to be imbibed or cultivated by the advocates. And always a good lawyer will become a good judge. So to become a good lawyer, you must cultivate certain good activities or good skills, good skills. Rather, the most important skill which the advocate has to develop is good communication skill. Nowadays, what we are experiencing is that most of the students are coming from Kannada medium. And because of this Kannada medium being opted by such advocates, there is no proper communication between the judges and the lawyers. So first of all, it is the most important thing that has to be cultivated is that good communication skill. Because the lawyers or advocates must possess excellent communication skills, both oral and written, to argue with more persuasiveness before the courts in a court of law. Speaking with fluency, efficiently and effectively is a skill that can be learned and developed by during the time in pursuance of the graduation while indulging in extracurricular activities like participating in the moot courts, youth parliaments, etc., and other various competitions. So each student of law has to cultivate has to learn the communication skills. This is the first and foremost thing that has to be learned by the advocates. And as rightly put by my lord, the advocate must have an analytical skill. So also the judges. So being involved and as a part of the legal industry, a lawyer or advocate must possess a distinctive attribute of analytical skills, as if to crystallize the information received either half or wrong. A lawyer must be able to analyze the events by using the critical method of analyzing the facts before the court. And if he has got an analytical mind, whenever a client come to the advocate and wants to put forth his case before the court of law, he has to cross-examine that client also. So he has to get the proper answer or proper information or instruction from his client, because he has to think that what the adversary would think. If a civil suit is filed, for example, a civil injunction suit is filed, he also expects that what the defendant will take a defense. That analytical mind has to be cultivated by the advocates. So also the advocate must have a research skill. Nowadays, because of this Google, we are finding all information by clicking a button. Even in the mobile also, we are getting such information. So in previous days, in olden days, the advocates used to have the research by sitting in their office, in their respective libraries, and make a research to get certain information about the client's case which they are putting before the court. So it is the most crucial skill needed to be a lawyer, even to the judge also, is the ability to research as a quick as lightning. He must be ready to take the responsibility. So also he has to maintain preservedness. So if a advocate cultivates the quality of a preserving, and that is preserving his skill on the one side and attitude on the other side. So he has to say before the court that if his case is weak, he must submit before the court that this is my case. Ultimately, it is the judge who has to decide the case, because as you all know, you must have studied in the Evidence Act. The civil cases are decided based upon the preponderance of evidence and probabilities. So far as criminal cases are concerned, they are decided based upon the principle of beyond all reasonable doubt. So as rightly discussed by my Lord Honorable Justice Suraj Govindaraj, a case come before the court, you may find that even plaintiff is also having a 50% case, defendant is also having a 50% case. So at that time, you have to see the preponderance of probabilities. Whose case is probable has to be understood by the judge, then we can decide. Sometimes, as I have worked right from the 1995 onwards till this day, we have found so many, we come across so many cases, civil cases, criminal cases, wherein we found that plaintiff has got a 51% case, defendant has got 49% of case, and even 50% case. Then it is a wisdom of the judge who can decide the case based upon the principle of preponderance and probabilities. And one more quality the advocate should have, that logical thinking ability. It is the most important thing, because nowadays what we find is that everything is available on the Google. But if the judge has got an experience, if a advocate or if a judge has got a worldly knowledge about the men and material, and having cultivated the habit of logical thinking, he can render a good judgment. When I joined the judicial service in the 1995, I came across a case, a civil case, wherein the easement right was being claimed in coastal areas, water course suits, what we call. Then the advocate submitted before me, stating that I persuaded him to argue the said case. But the said advocate said that, sir, I already argued 3 times before 3 judges, but I have not got the judgment. If you are able to deliver judgment, then only I argue the case. Then I requested his lawyer, the said lawyer, that I also learn from yourself. You please argue and convince me and guide me so that I can pass a judgment. Then he argued for 1 week of that case. adversary, the defendant also argued for 1 week, then I could pass a judgment on that, having took the guidance from the said both the advocates. Therefore, advocates are the officers of the court. So that if the judge thinks that he can deliver a judgment, he can seek guidance, he can take assistance of his own library, his own knowledge. So also he can take assistance of the lawyers, then he can deliver good judgments. And more so, the advocate must cultivate the habit of public speaking skills. So well-spoken and be expressive being an essential skill that a great lawyer or a advocate possesses. A critical element like public speaking and addressing a court of law, the advocate must be flawless and he must be a magnificent one. So this public speaking is a skill which can be developed by acknowledging the fact that one correctly and genuinely want to work upon this skill. So the public speaking skill is also most important. Nowadays, what we are finding is that all the courts, rather the principal decision is the chairman of the Karnataka, the district legal authority, where the talukas are there, the civil judge is the chairman of the taluka legal authority, wherein these through the legal service platform, we are conducting some literacy programs to educate the citizen in general, and wherever such programs are being conducted, the judges attend the said function, said literacy program and speak. So the judges also must cultivate the public speaking skill. So also the advocates, even the advocates are the panel members in the legal panel of the legal service authority. So that public speaking also plays an important role to become a good judge, and that is also most important thing. And another important quality the advocate should have, that writing skills. This excellent writing skills assist and aids in making the position of the client and the case. Because nowadays what we are finding is that whenever a client comes before the advocate and put forth his case before him, so he writes the plaint or he writes the written statement and files before the court. And when at the time of argument, the advocate starts searching the citations or the judgments of the High Court and Supreme Court. That should not be the attitude of an advocate. My senior, when we were practicing, used to say that whenever a client come before you, come to your office and put forth his case, you must take all the proper instructions and find a citation to that effect. And now everything is settled. And based upon the citation, you have to prepare the plaint, you have to prepare the written statement, you have to conduct examination to that effect. So also you have to cross-examine, and you have to collect some documents also to that effect. Then definitely you will win the case. So that should be the attitude of advocate. So also the judges, to become a judge is not so difficult now because of education being imparted by the law colleges, by so many bar associations. Even the Bar Council of India has undertaken to impart training to the lawyers, to train them to appear for the examinations. So writing skill is also important to the judge, as rightly put by my Lord Honorable Justice Suraj Govindaraj. So also the judges as well as advocates must have cultivated the habit of leadership qualities. He must have a leadership quality, then he must have a listening skills also, because a judge must be a good listener. If a judge is a good listener, then definitely he can deliver good judgments, because whenever the cases are being conducted before the courts, it is a duty of the judge to hear the case properly. He must be physically as well as mentally present before the court, and he has to hear the arguments in a proper manner, so that it will test argument notes which he prepares at the time of argument, at the time of hearing the arguments, definitely will help them in writing the good judgments. And even the advocates must have a quality of a decision making. They must develop the decision making skills based on the understanding of the event with full reasonableness and in a logistic manner. A lawyer or advocate can make out and draw conclusions based upon the information provided to him by their respective clients. Because Plaintiff knows his case, defendant knows the result of his case. But as rightly put by the Honorable Justice, Chief Justice of India about 15 days back, judge is on trial. So, as both the parties knew their cases, knew their case respectively, then the judge has to have a inculcate the quality of a decision-making skill. So also he must have an inquiring skill also. If any confusion arises during the course of the evidence or during the course of the arguments, he must have quality of a inquiring skill also. There are so many qualities which the advocate should have. And always, as I said, the good bar produces good judges. Therefore, as rightly stated, as you are the law students now, I request you that immediately after, though there is a opportunity to appear for the examination immediately after passing out the law degree, law course, but please wait for some time and practice for 2-3 years, then study the men and material, study the procedural law being applied in the respective courts, then appear for the examination. Then when you become a judge, definitely you can render justice to the parties. As a director of the Judicial Academy, what I am finding is that now recently, yesterday itself, we have relieved about 31 judicial officers who are selected as civil judges up to 2021 batch because of this pandemic. They were asked to join the duties on the coming 10th, that's on Monday. In these 31 civil judges who have been selected, I found that hardly about 5 to 6, about 10 to 12 officers have practiced for 2-3 years, and there was one officer who has put in about 10 years of service as an advocate. But remaining are just hardly passed the examination, practiced for 1 or 2 years, then appeared for the examination. We found that the men and material, that is a knowledge, the practical knowledge is lacking. Therefore, the Supreme Court, to become a Supreme Court judge, the age limit is fixed as 55. Because the experience of a man counts always in deciding the case. So that has to be kept in mind by you all. As I'm asked to speak with regard to the preparation required. See, if you have passed the examination, please join the good office of your choice. If you are interested in civil matters, you join the office of civil, join an advocate who is practicing on civil side. And if you have got an interest in the criminal side, you join the office of a advocate who is doing on the criminal side. Then a preparation is very much necessary to become a judge. Because as I'm coming from the lower rank of the judiciary, that is civil judge, senior civil judge, district judge. Now I'm the super term skill senior district judge. So this is the lower rank. From lower rank to higher judiciary, we have till this day I have come. So this experience always counts in deciding the cases. While to appear for the civil judge examination, as it is my experience that when I decided to take the examination, one of my cousin, who was a judgment judge in the district court, guided me in preparing for examinations, because civil judges' task is very, very important, because they are the trial court judges. Civil judges, as well as they are the judicial magistrate first class. So the preparation by the lawyer is very much necessary. And at the time of appearing for the examination, there are four subjects being scheduled or notified by the High Court. And law paper 1 consists of all the subjects which you have studied in the law degree. And law paper 2, civil judgment. Law paper 3, criminal judgment. And one paper is translation from Kannada to English and English to Kannada, like that. So you can definitely pass through in the law examination because which covering the subjects. But if you got an experience of writing judgments and orders, then civil judgment in law paper 2, you have to prepare for writing the orders, writing the judgments. Even the question may be asked to frame the issues, etc. So also in criminal cases, you have to write the criminal judgment. You have to frame the charges, pleas, etc. So also in translation from Kannada to English and English to Kannada. Most of the students are coming from English medium in CMS, what I gather from this thing. But translating a paper from Kannada to English and English to Kannada is very difficult task. So for this, if you put your heart and soul in preparing for examination, definitely will get it through. Because as I say, as rightly put, this legal profession is a noble profession. And as rightly said, it is the only advocate class who is called as a learned advocates. We are not supposed to we are not calling the engineers as learned engineers. We are not calling the doctors as learned doctors or other community. But it is the only advocate class who is called as a learned advocate, learned lawyer, etc. So also learned judges like this. So when you want to choose this judgeship as a profession, you must sacrifice all your personal comforts, because 24/7, 365 days, you have to be on the task. And more so, the difficulty which we have faced is that right from 1995 till this day, I have suffered so many transfers. I have been posted to so many places. So one thing I can say that my children have no permanent friends, as this is the experience of my children also. So this you must also know that if a judge is if you are appointed as a judge, you have to be transferred from one place to another place. Maybe though as per the transfer policy, though it says that 3 years period in one place, but it is a discretion of the High Court to transfer. So that has to be kept in mind. And whenever you intend to appear for the examination, please think once, twice, thrice, and then decide to appear for the examination. And if you want to appear for the examination, you have to put your heart and soul, because judge's role is a vital role in interpreting the sections of the statutes and articles of the Constitution, etc. A judge is a person who can exercise and enforce laws with a limited jurisdiction. They hold the public office vested with the authority to hear the cases, determine and preside over the legal matters brought into the court of law. The term judge, as you have studied in CPC, CRPC, is defined in not only in the CPC, CRPC, so also in the Indian Penal Code also. So the judges ensure that there is a fair trial and the verdict is delivered at the end of the case. Judges protect the dignity of the court in society without any bias and this thing. So, to become a judge, no doubt it is a Herculean task, because you have to appear for the examination. As rightly stated, if you work as a lawyer for a period of 7 years, directly you can appear for the higher judicial service, that is a district judge. If you want to become a civil judge, immediately after the passing out the law degree, you can appear for the examination, and whenever the notification being issued by the Honorable High Court, because it is a High Court is the appointing authority. It is a High Court who is the appointing authority, and whenever such a notification is being issued, you have to comply with all the requirements of appearing for the examination. And immediately after passing the law degree, if you want to appear, then as rightly stated, the practical knowledge is lacking in you. And no doubt you are theoretically perfect, but practical knowledge is lacking. And if you say that you want to appear for the examination, definitely you can appear. But however, while presiding over the courts, definitely you will feel very difficulty in discharging your duties as a judge, because so many senior lawyers appear before the court, so many expert lawyers also appear, and you should not become the laughing figure before them. No doubt, the Judicial Academy is imparting training to all the judicial officers who are selected as civil judges, district judges, and even our Judicial Academy is conducting various refresher courses to all the judges. And now, in our Judicial Academy, every week we are having so many workshops on the different subjects. No doubt the academy will definitely teach and impart knowledge to such officers. But however, it is the mindset of a particular officer or a particular lawyer to inculcate all the qualities of a judge. So preparation is very much required, and experience always makes man perfect, as it is rightly stated. So if you want to become the judge, please put your heart and soul, and then only you can become good judges. There should not be any bias. There should not be any partiality, because judge is judge always, as rightly put by this is Govindra sir. 24/7 and 365 days you are a judge. No doubt, the judge's profession is a very, very good profession. And in India, we have this judges age limit as 60 years retirement on superannuation. And about the financial facility, as rightly stated, now yesterday I was signing one document wherein I found that a recently selected judge will draw a salary of rupees 93,000 per month in gross. So many facilities are very much available, but to become a judge, it is a very difficult task. Please see that, decide first, then join the good office, practice for 2-3 years, then choose to appear for the examination. Preparation is very much required, as I put, because as a no doubt the intelligent advocate may become a judge, but intelligence is one part, common sense is another part. So that is very much required. Therefore, in MC Mehta case, in the year 1987, the Honorable Supreme Court has stated about the manner in which the judge has to work, and the role of a judge is important to settle the civil disputes of two private parties. The effort is very much required to determine the guilt of a person charged with offences and to punish for the same. Even common sense application of law is very much required. So to say, to adjudicate the disputes between the parties, the common sense application of law and the precedents being so many judgments of the Supreme Court are also very much necessary. So even the role of a judge also plays an important role in deciding the case. So that is, judges have the power of review with the legislation if the legislation goes beyond that. So the judge's role is to interpret and construe the laws according to the statutes passed by the legislature. So there is a consistency with the law of the fighting of homage, etc. That has to be kept in mind by all the judges. Therefore, the Supreme Court in MC Mehta case, it is stated that judicial innovation, which showed that the judges leave their footprints on the sands of a nation's legal history. A judge should be prepared to receive light from whatever source it comes from, build up its jurisprudence, evolve new principles, and lay down new norms which would adequately deal with the problems which arise in an industrial economy. This is what is stated by the Supreme Court in this MC Mehta case. If you read this judgment, you will have a knowledge that how the judge has to work and what preparation the judge has to do. So for preparing for examination, you must understand the principles being laid down by the Supreme Court in this MC Mehta case versus Union of India, which was rendered in the year 1987. So also in the 2019 recent judgment in Ramamurthy Yadav versus State of Uttar Pradesh, the Supreme Court has stated that during discharge of the judicial function, an error of a judgment in deciding criminal case will not lead to an inference of dishonesty or a lack of integrity. Only if it is found that the judgment was based on capricious grounds, vitiated by malafides, overlooks relevant materials, could there be limited scope for interference. This was decided by the Supreme Court. Therefore, judicial service is not like any other service. A person discharging judicial duties acts on behalf of the state in discharge of its sovereign functions. Dispensation of justice is not only an onerous duty, but has been considered as akin to the discharge of a pious duty, and therefore is a very serious matter. So the Supreme Court says in Ramamurthy Yadav case that the standard of probity, conduct, integrity that may be relevant for discharge of the duties as a careerist in another job cannot be the same for the judicial officer. A judge holds the office of public trust, impeccable integrity, unimpeachable independence with moral values embodied in the core or absolute system, and the public has the right to demand virtually irrevocable conduct from anyone performing a judicial function. Judges must strive for the highest standards of integrity in both their professional and personal lives. This is what the Supreme Court says. So before becoming a judge, before preparing for yourself to become a judge, these qualities have to be cultivated by all the aspirants to become the judges. Because the Supreme Court in various judgments have stated, even in the 2020, in Central Public Information Officer, Supreme Court of India versus Subhash Chandra Agarwal in the 2020 has delivered a very good judgment with regard to the judges' public fiduciary obligation towards the citizens, including a duty of loyalty, duty of a care, and the cluster comprising the duties of a candor, disclosure and accounting, etc. So please read these judgments and cultivate such a qualities of a judge. Then without a preparation, we cannot appear for such examination. Some hard work is very much required. Like in UPSC service examination for IAS, IPS, etc. A thorough training is necessary, thorough coaching is necessary. But to become the judge, if you read for 3 months properly, if you attend the court properly, because it is said that open court is the best guide for all the lawyers to become the good lawyers. Because no senior will teach that you should like this, you should do like this, you should do like that, etc. It is the open court which is the best guide for the lawyers to learn so many things. Because in a day, so many advocates appear before the court, so many cases are being taken up by the judge, and so many advocates advance their arguments, so many advocates conduct the examination, crossing, etc. That definitely will help to get a good amount of knowledge by the lawyers. Therefore, if you sit in the open court right from 11 o'clock to till 5:40 p.m., then definitely you are not required to attend the office of your senior, etc. Because open court is the best guide, as rightly stated by our seniors, etc. when we are practicing. And even if you want to become a judge, you must also know that what is the main duty of a judge. That is to uphold the law and see that justice is served to the litigant who has come to the court. And a judge should discharge the duties without any ill will, fear, favor, or affection. This is a most important quality of a judge. So also he should hear the allegation of both the plaintiff and defendant in civil cases and accused and prosecution in criminal cases. Then he can question the witness during the testimony because Evidence Act provides for that. Then so also he should not act arbitrarily and should treat both parties equally and impartially. And he should give the fullest opportunity to the advocate to present the case. He should not raise any questions unnecessarily when the advocate is arguing. He should respect the prerogative of the bar. So also he should not get influenced by any circumstance except law and justice. So also he should avoid contestable manners or tone where there is a controversial case in the court. So also he should have a calm temperament and should not interrupt the counsel and witness during the argument and examination, etc. So also he can also issue opinions and case decisions, and then that set the precedent, etc. So to become the judge, these qualities are much more required. Then I request all of you that please read all these duties and responsibilities of the judge. Then decide yourself having a self-introspection, whether I'm capable of holding such a responsibility and duty towards the public at large. Because judgeship comes to the person who deserves. Always I used to say to all our officers that Nyayapita, Dharmapita, Vidyapita. These are the three pitas reserved for only reserved people. Because everybody cannot become a judge. Everybody cannot become a teacher like Sir Subramanyam. Everybody cannot become a Dharma Guru. So, judge's profession is a very pious profession. And if you want to become a judge, you have to cultivate or inculcate all the good qualities, and you have to hold the duties and respond towards the public at large. Because second to the judge is considered second to God. So to appear for the examination, you have to make preparations. You must cultivate the habit of writing the because in the examination for 3 hours you have to write. So you must cultivate the habit of writing also. That too, a legible writing is very much required. So that please do that handwriting practice. So also you must have a command over the all the subject matters. If law paper 1 is there, it consists of CPC, CRPC, evidence, constitution, and other allied laws. So you must have perfection on all these laws. Nobody knows that what questions are going to be posed, because in our Karnataka, when civil exams are being conducted, the question papers are printed the previous day. That is, if tomorrow is the examination, today night the question papers are being printed. So there is no possibility of any getting the questions in advance. You have to take the earlier question papers of similar examination, prepare for that same, and prepare the model answers, show it to your teachers, show to the lawyers, so that they can guide you properly. And writing a judgment is a skill, because for civil examination, you have to write the civil judgment. For criminal law paper, criminal judgment, you have to write criminal judgment, etc. So when you are asked to write a judgment, you must have read the judgments of the High Court and Supreme Court during your law degrees by sitting in your library. But writing a judgment by the trial court is quite different than the writing a judgment by the appellate courts, because it differs. The procedure differs from writing a judgment of a trial court or by the appellate courts. So you must collect some judgments of a good judges, follow the procedures being followed by them, and then understand that how they write, because within 3 hours you have to write the judgment. So also you have to write the issues, etc. if passed. So also you have to write the orders and interim applications. So if practicing in that means writing practice is quite necessary, and you have to put a clock in front of you and write the judgments within 3 hours. So also write a criminal judgment in 3 hours, because within 3 hours you can't write lengthy judgment. So that quality has to be that practice is quite necessary for all of you. So if you want to appear for civil examination, as rightly put, please practice for 2-3 years. You will get a worldly knowledge. You will get a good amount of knowledge in dealing with the cases. Then if you want to appear for the district judge exam directly, because higher judicial service, you have to practice minimum 7 years. 7 years practice is quite necessary. If a person has practiced for 7 years, definitely he will get some experience, and so also he will get some good amount of knowledge also. Recently, our own High Court has selected about 12 direct district judges. Now they are undergoing training in our judicial academy. So it is the experience which counts, and not the your ranking in the law degree. That will not count. But however, to become a good judge, hard work is quite necessary. It is said that hard work is the only substitute for intelligence, and you have to put your heart and soul. And reading is a vehicle of knowledge. It is said, where if you go on reading, you will get good amount of knowledge. always tell the law, I always request the lawyers as well as our judges that every day at least read one judgment, maybe of your choice. If you read a judgment before going to bed, court language will be on your tongue, and you will get good amount of knowledge. So that will help you in discharging the duties as a judge. Please cultivate the habit of reading. Reading is a vehicle of knowledge, and hard work is the only source for intelligence. So, as preparation is very much required nowadays, most of the bar associations are in conducting training programs to the aspirants to become the judges. Please participate in the same. Recently, the Hubli organized, that is a ILU, that the senior lawyers have formed a organization, and they are imparting training to the lawyers being the aspirants to become the judges. And I also have spoken on some subjects in that program, so that there are so many avenues available to you to get good amount of knowledge. Please prepare properly and answer the questions in a proper manner. One thing that has to be understood, that if a candidate has got a thorough knowledge, both on men and material on the subjects, definitely he can get through the examination. It is not so difficult as the examination of UPSC examination. So before choosing the said judgeship, you must think once, twice, then decide, because law degree has got so many options. If you become a lawyer, you can practice in the civil court, you can practice in the district court, you can practice in the before the high court, if you can practice in the Supreme Court, according to your capacity. Even if you can become a prosecutor, you can become a legal advisor, you can become a employee of the corporate sector, etc. There are so many options are available to the law degree holders. So if you want to opt the judgeship, see that you have to put your heart and soul, and then have a look at all the previous question papers, and take the guidance from various organizations which are imparting training. So also you have to understand the duties and responsibilities of the judge, then only you can opt for the said profession. So with this, I request you to pose any questions if you want.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us and giving us better clarity on preparations required to become a judge. Now the floor is open for questions. All the students are requested to post your questions and doubts in the chat box, and please do not unmute. I now invite Ramachandra ma'am to moderate the question answer session.
Thank you, Anaka. Warm greetings to you, sir. Students can now post their questions in the chat box. I will just take up a few questions we've received previously. So the first question is, when, according to you, sir, should a student start their preparation for judgeship?
See, if a candidate wants to, if a lawyer wants to become a judge, right from the beginning, he has to prepare. And whenever a notification is being issued by the High Court calling for the filling up the post of a civil judges or the district, as the case may be, at least 3 months or time is being given for conducting the preliminary examination. And after preliminary examination, the main examination is being conducted. So if a candidate wants to become a judge, right from the beginning itself, he has to prepare for the examination. He has to collect some materials from the lawyers, material from the courts. So many, in a city like Bangalore, we have about 94 civil courts, wherein some courts are dealing with criminal cases, some courts are dealing with civil cases. So also, some courts are dealing in both civil and criminal cases. Ask them to sit. You have to sit in the open court. It's the best guide. So also collect some materials and prepare for the same. As I told, writing practice is very much necessary, and preparation is very much required from the right from the beginning. Unlike that UPSC exam, as I told, that preparation is very much necessary in UPSC examination. But however, in this case, if a advocate is having a good practice, and if he is attending the court every day, and at least 3 to 4 hours per day is sufficient to prepare for the examination, in addition to his regular work. But so far as newly passed out law degree holders, preparation is very much necessary. If they want to become the judges, right from the day of passing out the examination, they must start preparing, and they must attend so many the seminar, the coaching classes. They will help, definitely help.
Thank you so much, sir. So the next question is, assuming that a student has, right after their law degree, cracked both the prelims as well as the mains of PCSJ of any, say, particular state, could you please suggest what they must follow to prepare for the viva or the interview?
See, in viva was the questions are being posed by the interview board are of a practical one only, not theoretically. First question, the interview board may ask about the nature of the practice which the candidate is doing. He may, whether he is practicing on civil side, whether he practices on criminal side, or he is practicing in the high court, etc. So when you are practicing on civil side, the questions are being posed on the civil side only. Generally, they may ask some questions also. During the interview, they may test the candidate whether he is competent or capable of becoming a judge. That is being this thing. Personality of a person is very much, he should be well dressed, he should have behave properly. The behaving of a plays an important role. So far as viva is concerned, you have to prepare well, and having passed the written exam, preliminary examination, main examination, again he has to have a revision of the subjects which he has studied during the while he is preparing for the examination. Viva's test is, it depends, its selection is based upon the merit only. In all the high courts are conducting this examination, and selection is purely on the basis of merit only. About some roster system has to be followed because of reservation, etc. Once the officer is selected as a civil judge, his merit list always counts for his promotions. During promotion, no roster is being followed. So whatever the marks he secured in the written test, so also in the vivas always counts. And to prepare for vivas, general revision of the subjects is very much necessary. So also about the day-to-day affairs, he must read the newspapers every day. So also he has to prepare for himself to answer all the questions. Even if he doesn't know the answer, he has to say before the court, the interview board, that I don't know because I have not come across, etc. He should not bluff. He is not supposed to speak falsehood before, because they will understand whether he has studied or whether he knows the answer, etc. If the candidate doesn't know the answer, he has to say that I don't know the answer. They will pose other questions, etc. So preparation, that means revision of the subject which he already studied is necessary. So also he must be well dressed, well behaved, etc. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is that while we recommend and suggest all our students to pay equal attention and value to all their subjects, however, would you recommend or suggest any specific subjects that they should focus on if they want to aspire to become a judge?
It depends upon their this thing. If he wants to become a civil judge, he must consider the subject on civil procedure code, criminal procedure code, evidence act. So also other allied subjects like constitution also. And even some civil judges are dealing with some cases like under the Domestic Violence Act, the maintenance proceedings, so many proceedings are there. So there's some subjects, but mainly he must be thorough with the Evidence Act. He must be thorough with the CPC. He must be thorough with the CRPC. They are the main subjects which he has to concentrate, and he must understand the procedural laws properly. Therefore, as rightly put by Justice Govindaraj, sir, at least if you practice for 2-3 years, you will know what is the procedure being followed. Because as you all know, as a candidate also know, that Code of Civil Procedure, Code of Criminal Procedure are the procedural laws. So these procedure has to be followed properly. He must be thorough on the procedure. A judge who is thorough in the procedure, definitely he will be a successful judge. So please concentrate on these procedural laws. then you can answer all the questions. Yes.
Thank you, sir. I hope students, you're taking note of all the subjects sir has specifically mentioned. This will be of great benefit to you. So, another question that we've received is, what are the specific skills that a law student should cultivate, sir, or hone further in order to become a judge? Even if they want to become a judge immediately after law school or later after they practice for some time, what are the skills that they should specifically try and cultivate during their term in the law school?
See, first of all, they must understand the role of a judge. What is the role of a judge? To settle the disputes between the parties. So to say, to settle the civil disputes of a private parties. So also in case of criminal cases, to determine the guilt of the person charged with the offense and punish them properly. And to adjudicate the dispute between the states and the citizens, etc. This is what the role of a judge also plays an important role, and he has to cultivate or inculcate the quality of interpreting and construing the laws according to the statute. Because if the law says that, now previously, for example, when I was a magistrate in the year 1995 to 2003, there section 125, as you all know, provides passing of an order to grant maintenance to the dependents, maybe wife, maybe parents, maybe children who are deserted by the father, husband, etc. There at that time, the maximum power to the magistrate was rupees 500 per month in those days. So while interpreting the law, as the magistrate has got power only to grant a maintenance of rupees 500 rupees, he cannot grant more than that. Well, while dealing with some case, when I was sitting in the Lok Adalat at that time, husband was ready to pay rupees 500 rupees, wife was ready to receive rupees 500 rupees. But the advocate for the respondent husband was questioning me that you cannot grant that much. That was the law, that is interpretation. But because of amendment to CRPC now depending upon the cost of living, depending on the status of that particular person who are claiming the maintenance can be awarded by the court. So the interpretation of the law is very much necessary, and that quality has to be inculcated by the candidates aspiring to become the judges. And skill development is very much necessary. You have to develop the good skill. And so also, you have to sacrifice all the personal benefits, personal comforts to become a judge, because it is restricted life. As always it is said that if a judge passes one judgment, some enemies are being created. So we must be able to face all these things. Therefore, we are not supposed to entertain the relations, entertain the friends, entertain some other persons. It is a restricted life, but respect is there. So skill development is very much necessary, and the judge who wants to become, the candidate who wants to become a good judge must inculcate all the good qualities. Therefore, it is said, Nyayapita, Dharamapita, Vidyapita. There is a reserved post, reserved pitas for reserved people only.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is a two-part question. The first part is from the perspective of the students. So how is an internship under a judge beneficial, and what is the importance of it? The second part of the question is from the perspective of students as well as the internship and placement cell. So are there any internship or traineeship opportunities available with the Karnataka State Judicial Academy for law students?
That has to be, it is there. But provided our president and governors have to give concurrence for that. In our academy, internship can be provided. But However, I suggest that if the law student wants to get an internship, he can approach the very senior lawyer. There he can learn so many things about the drafting skills, etc. So also attend the courts. So also he can become internship with the high court judges, even the district judges also. So they have to watch the proceedings and note down, etc. It is permissible, but internship definitely will help, because in our high court there were so many interns. Did the advocates have become the interns, and they have become judges now. Definitely that will help. But only thing is that hard work. May simply becoming intern is not sufficient. They must put their heart and soul and understand the men and material. Then they can become good judges. It's permissible.
Thank you, sir. As you have graciously agreed that there is internship opportunity available at the Karnataka State Judicial Academy, we shall definitely try and get in touch with you to
Yes.
discuss this further,
Yes.
sir, if you
Yes.
could you will allow. Thank you, sir. So the next question we've received is, sir, is there time to take up more questions?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So the next question we've received is, should a judge act only according to what is justice as per law, or can he go above and beyond anything to find what's the right thing to do?
See, while deciding the civil cases, as I told, civil cases are decided based upon the preponderance and probabilities. So according to law, only you have to decide. The judge cannot go beyond the statute or beyond the law. Because when a civil suit is being filed, for example, a partition suit, if a daughter files a suit against the father because of this amendment to the Hindu Succession Act, she is also co-person now. So whatever the share she is entitled for, that has to be granted. So the judge cannot grant more share as she has, than she is entitled, her entitlement. So the judges have to act according to law. No doubt, some cases are being referred for the local adalat, and there they claim compromise, etc. But judges have to decide the case based upon the facts of the case, because whatever the precedents, whatever the judgments of High Court and Supreme Court, they are guiding factors to all the judges. But every civil case has to be decided based upon the facts of the case. So also every criminal case, it is based upon the principle of beyond all reasonable doubt. Even as you are taught in the law, you are being taught in the law college, even a slightest doubt in the case of prosecution, that benefit has to be extended to the accused person. Because of some procedural lapse, because of some inconsistency in the evidence, because of the discrepancy in the evidence, the accused are being acquitted. So every case has to be decided based upon the facts of the case. It depends upon the evidence being placed on record. Therefore, it is said in civil cases, pleadings are sacrosanct. They are the pillars of the case. If pleading is good, if evidence is good, if documents are in favor of the plaintiff, suit has to be decreed. So within the four corners of law only, the case has to be decided. Court cannot give its own finding and render injustice to the parties. The justice-oriented judgment has to be delivered by the judges. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So one final question, if you will allow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. So this question is from the teacher's perspective or from the perspective of the university. So currently there are a few competitions such as the moot court competition, the trial advocacy competition, even the judgment writing competition, which enables students to gain the skills of a lawyer as well as a judge. So
Yes.
would you recommend, what else would you recommend law schools to do, sir, so that we know we are preparing our students on the right track to become a judge in the future?
So far as moot courts are concerned, I suggest that whatever the day-to-day cases being tried by the courts have to be taken up as far as for a moot court. If you take a question on international dispute in moot court, that may not help the candidates, because for example, in city civil court, that international dispute will not arise here. So I suggest the law colleges to take some cases from the civil courts, which have been disposed of. Maybe injunction suit, maybe partition suit, maybe declaration suit. So in criminal cases, maybe misappropriation case, maybe assault case, etc., which are being tried by the civil court or criminal courts. Such disposed cases can be taken up for a moot court, and based upon that, if you prepare the students to participate in the moot court competition, definitely that will help you, because you teach the various subjects which are not at all being helpful to our lawyers here. Day-to-day affairs, day-to-day cases. In city civil court, we have 94 courts, as I told. All the city civil judges are the district judges there. They are dealing with all the civil suits of all nature. Even the commercial courts are being established now. In Bengaluru city, commercial courts are there, 8 commercial courts. For Bengaluru rural, we have 1 commercial court. If you take up such cases for a moot court, ask your candidates or the students to participate in such things, that definitely that will help you. Help the students to get more amount of knowledge. Even if you can request the registrar of the city civil court to give the material, that is a disposed case material, so that you can take the copies of the same and distribute among the participants and guide them properly. And while conducting the moot court, it is my suggestion that take the assistance of one lawyer. Lawyer will definitely guide the students that how to conduct the exam in chief, how to conduct the cross-examination, how to advance the arguments, etc. As a matter of course, rather, if the practical matters are being taken up in a moot court, definitely it will help you. I suggested Mr. Patil, the KSLU, the then in charge officer, the in charge teacher. Please include this day-to-day cases which are being tried by the civil courts, district courts, etc. in the moot court. Even I told, when as a principal is my Dharwad, I requested him that I told him that I definitely will provide the material to you. So please concentrate on these day-to-day cases. If you take up a writ petition, take the writ petition which are being regularly tried by the high courts. That is necessary. Definitely that will help the candidates or the students to learn more than dwelling upon these internal analysis, etc. And even you have to educate the children in a day-to-day affairs, that is CPC, CRPC, evidence. A candidate who is having a command over the Evidence Act definitely can deliver a good judgment, because Evidence Act is the most important enactment being enacted in the 1872. That definitely will help the students to decide the case in an effective manner. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. So there are many other questions. However, I would request students to be patient. If sir, you will allow, we shall share the questions with you. Yes. And if you have time, you could please respond to it and
yes.
share it with
yes.
the students. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your patiently answering all our questions. Anaka, you can take over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I please request Alisha Khan of 5th semester LLB to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Anaka. Sir, thanks a lot for giving us a precious time in your busy schedule. It really means a lot to us. You have surely added to the charm of this event. It was truly an incomplete event without your motivation and valuable advice. I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Shri Ramachandra Huddar sir, for making an excellent presentation on how to prepare for becoming a judge and making this seminar very meaningful and interesting. I would like to express my deep gratitude to sir for his presence in this seminar. During this seminar, sir has delivered his ideas and knowledge very beautifully on topics such as what all qualities of a judge should be, how skills and activities should be cultivated, cultivated as communication, should have distinct attribute of analytical knowledge, should do research and preparation and have ability to do critical analysis, should be ready to take responsibilities, etc. I, Alisha Khan from LLB 5th semester, on behalf of the entire CMR family, would like to thank all those who have participated overwhelmingly and making this part of the event success with their great patience and devotion. Thank you, sir, for once again for an enlightening and entertaining knowledge which you have delivered. It was an honor for us to meet you in such a platform. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Alisha, and thank you, sir.